Alrighty, guys. It looked like we had an issue, technical issue. Alrighty. Guess we are good to go. All right. Okay, guys. I am actually just getting everything rocking and rolling. All right, guys, here we go. What I wanted to talk to you about today was this is a video out of nowhere, but listen, this is what I want to talk about. I just want to have a discussion, a conversation. I want to share my views about large farm, this whole resentment between large farms and small farms or medium-sized farms. I don't even say medium, I say small because it always seems like it's the smaller guys that's the ones that's making a really big stink about this. So I just want to share my opinion and my perspective from my own personal experience about different farm sizes, what value they bring to the community, what I have found as far as the experience levels on different size farms, the knowledge level on different size farms, and also to the amount of individuals that work on these particular farms. You know, how many people does it take to run different size farms? And you'll actually be surprised as I get into it, how many people it take to run particular farms. Okay, so not going to spend a lot of time. Appreciate everybody checking in. Hopefully, y'all guys are checking in from YouTube, but I just shared across all platforms. So, first thing is I wanted, and this is something I know pretty much everybody out there knows. I'm not the first person that heard it. When it comes to guys saying, "Oh, large farms got a lot of help. Large farms produce nothing but trash. Large farms is just in it for the money." It's just always something negative, right, about large farms. And where do it usually come from? It's typically not coming from another large farm, right? It's typically coming from someone with a lot smaller farm, okay? And you hear comments like, those guys don't know what they're doing. They all crooks. I mean, like I very rarely hear, it seems like, something positive about large farms, right? And I'm not on here to convince nobody or to change nobody's view, opinion, perspective, or challenge anybody's experience they have had with large farms. I just want to discuss small, medium, and large farms. Let's talk about what it takes to run them. Let's talk about what knowledge they have. Let's talk about what experience they have. Let's talk about how some of them started out. Let's talk about with the pros and cons, if they can bring anything of value to the community. Do they just take from the community? I want to discuss all those things. Don't be shy. There's no right or wrong. Share your opinion or experience inside the comment section, so we can talk about it. Okay, this is how I would like to start off. You have a right to your opinion. Sometimes your opinion is the opinion of someone else, right? Sometimes your opinion is not a result of your experience. I don't care if you're dealing with large farm, medium size, or small farms. Many people voice their opinions that is actually based on somebody else's experience or somebody else's opinion or somebody else's war story. Okay. A lot of times, a lot of stuff that you hear guys expressing is not a result of direct experience. But it seems like the community is okay with that as long as that negativity is applied to larger farms. So I get that sometimes when guys make comments like, all I do is focus on large farms. I need to interview small farm. So that really tells me, when I see that comment, that immediately tells me that the individual has probably watched none of Journey to the Pit interviews. Because if the individual has watched Journey to the Pit interviews, we had interviewed very few large farms. We can count them all on one hand. When we interviewed them, You can count it. We can count them all on one hand. That was Large Farm. We interviewed Tammy Shives. We interviewed Jason Daniels from Gator Farms. At that time, James Sylvester wasn't as big as he is now. I think back then he only had like 600, or probably less. And that's not really a lot. Who else did we have that was a large farm? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's it. I think we actually only interviewed 3 individuals that were considered large farms. And I'm talking about things that's probably 1,000, have 1,000. That's what I was considering large farms. Anthony Nelson, that's exactly right, brother. Yeah, it's some great comments coming in from YouTube, but I don't know if we got anybody on here. It looks like, I don't know, it looks like we're streaming to Facebook as well, but nobody probably has checked in from Facebook. If you watch it from Facebook, check on in, because we haven't got anything in. But Anthony, I agree. Anthony said here in his comment, Anthony said in his, wrong one. Anthony said in his comment, big difference in quality of birds. I recommend everyone to buy your birds directly from the source, big or small. That's a great, what's up, JJ? Appreciate you checking in from Facebook. I just need to make sure that we were also streaming to Facebook. Here's a good one right here. What's up, Juan? Good evening, brother. Here's a good one right here. 81A said that this year is my first time purchasing from a large farm. Usually stay local, but can't really trust. They no longer know what they have on their own yard. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And that's one of the things that I also want to talk about. What's up, Robert from Ireland? Checking all the way in from Ireland. Small farms. And guys, bear with me, because we got a lot of comments coming in. Oki said, a small farm allows me to get my hands on all my birds. That's right. Ain't nothing wrong with that, brother. That's right. That is right. This is a good one. 81 Ace. 81 Ace is a member of our YouTube membership program. I greatly appreciate your support, brother. But let me read what he said. He says, small farms are asking big farm prices for their birds. Might as well get it straight from the source. That has became a big deal as far as like on a resale market. And there's a difference, and there's nothing wrong with reselling. We deal with reselling every single day in our life. When you go to Walmart, they ain't doing nothing but reselling, because they don't produce anything. You know what I mean? So we deal with reselling in every aspect of our life. But I know what 81 Ace is talking about, which I have seen guys do, which they'll go buy fowl from a well-known breeder just to breed it to resell it. Like, they have no intentions on improving it. They have no intentions in creating their own. They don't have any intentions on doing anything but just reselling, right? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because they do that here. They do that everywhere. They do that everywhere. So all depends on, what your standards, what your criteria is as far as you doing business with somebody. That's just the way I look at it. But let's kind of get into some of the things about these different size farms, what they bring to the table, and see if we can kind of understand this resentment that the smaller farms have against the bigger farms. Let's talk a little bit about how people are always sharing their opinions that's not even a result from experience. Is a result from somebody else's opinion. Now, check this out. Nobody's okay with that if that same thing was applied to them. You wouldn't be okay with somebody having a negative opinion about you, but they never even met you. You shouldn't even care. But just say if you did, if you're in business, you wouldn't want nobody to have a negative opinion about your business from somebody else's opinion. You would rather have an individual have a negative opinion about your business from a direct experience, right? That's how we all operate in real life. But when it comes to gamefowl, we are 100% okay with believing some trash talk about somebody's farm, about somebody as an individual person, as long as that same thing is not applied to us. As long as that same, do y'all guys see that, or am I the only one that sees that? I'm sure I'm not the only one that see that. We got people checking in from all over. What's up, Idaho? There's a ton of messages coming in. Guys, like I say, always just give me an opportunity to stream through these comments, because there's a lot of them coming in. Quality over quantity, I think that's definitely like a cliche. That is something that we all strive for. Yeah, quality over quantity, but quality doesn't have a direct correlation to size, to quantity. That's the only thing about that statement. Quality over quantity is just a regurgitated statement, right? That is always used, okay? But you never look just past the cliche saying. Quality doesn't have a direct correlation to quantity. See, that's the second half of the cliche statement. See, nobody ever says the second half. They just say, oh, quality over quantity, which they're really just referring to large farms. They're not referring to anything else but a larger farm. They're not referring to somebody with 50 roosters in their yard. That saying is being regurgitated in our community, really to apply to larger farms, with the insinuation that if you're producing a lot, it has to be trash, right? And don't sit up here and pretend like I'm the only one that read those comments. Y'all guys know, y'all read the same comments that I read, and that's why I'm making this video. So we're gonna pull up JJ Hurst as we going through. So remember that last part, guys. So the next time you use quality over quantity, make sure you also put in there quality has no direct correlation to quantity. It goes to what JJ Hurst just said. JJ Hurst is saying, I've seen good and bad come from small, large farms, but you don't raise 1,000+ birds and sell out every year if you have what you have is all calls. That's my whole point. Now, that leads me into my next part. For all the individuals out there that's watching now and that will watch later, that feels as though if you produce a lot, you're producing nothing but trash. Let's look at it this way. The vast majority of individuals that are competing in the top levels of competition outside of the United States, those birds are typically coming from large farms. Let me know in the comment section, am I right or wrong? Look down in Mexico, say over the last 5 years, and look at a lot of the major competition down there that's winning. Look at the major farms that's constantly winning. I'm not talking about having 1 or 2 good seasons. I'm not talking about beating somebody in 1 or 2 mains. I'm talking about on a consistent level, who are the ones that is winning consistently the majority of times in big competition outside of the United States? Post in the comments, share with me what your thoughts are. I'm gonna give y'all guys about 30 seconds. In 30 seconds. So y'all guys can let me know. I don't see no comments coming in. What's up, Hector? From Houston. I gotta come out to Houston, man. Oh, we got some great interviews coming up, Hector. We got some great interviews. I'm actually waiting for the guys to send me their photos so I can get their flyers made. And then we're going to go ahead and run it. Okay. Now, Lee Velasquez. I want to bring Lee comment up because Lee, Lee, I was responding to the other comment that Lee had when he posted up, quality over quantity. And Lee said, true, respect that. But the ones that are winning have a large selection. So that proves my point. So Lee, where's the large selection coming from? You see what I'm saying? They have a large selection. If you look at some of the top big farms in this country, they are selling out. And they're not selling out 1 season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons. All of them I know been selling out over the last 10 years. You cannot sell trash for 10 years in a row and still keep selling out. You just can't do it. And Lee, you're exactly right. Those guys do have large selections, but those large selections that they're picking from, they're not going to 100 small farms. You see what I'm saying? Exactly, Jay. This is what I'm talking about. Jay knows, like Lee was saying, they have a larger selection. That is right. And see, that's my whole point of what I'm saying. That's my whole point. What I'm saying. You know what I mean? We always, here's Kane. Kane said Rat Gray's been selling out the last 15, selling out for 25 years. You see what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about. Terry, I think we all know the answer to this, Terry. Terry Clark says, say you're a big farm, got 700 grays on a cord. Show me the hens they came out from. Did you single mate or you just collected eggs? Terry, you already know the answer to that. I just wanted to put that up on the screen just to make a point. Terry Clark, I think we all know the answer to that. We all got social media. We all see these pens with flock breeding. That's a very, very common practice in the United States of America. But again, it must have some type of success to it, because if you can look through the comments, you'll see that, again, if you look at the elite teams that are winning in top competition outside of the United States, they're not traveling to 100 small farms picking up fowl. So regardless if they're having, I only single mate. I don't flock mate or group mate or anything. I don't have no opinion about that. You know what I mean? If that's what somebody's doing and it's working for them, good. And if customers know that's how they breeding and they're buying from them, what's the problem? To me, there is no problem. If the person say, oh, I know he got 10 hens in there with 1 rooster and they still want to buy it, then that's their business. I don't have no thing, but I'm not going to have even 2 hens in 1 pen with mine. But that's just me. I'm not no better than a guy with the 10 hens. Because I'm pretty sure that everybody in that top competition, many of those birds are coming out of flock pens. Some of them coming out of single mates. I know some of them are coming out of single mates, but not all of those teams that's competing in top competition, not all of those birds are coming out of single mated pens. There's more fowl coming out of flock pens than single mated pens in top competition. So what I'm doing is right now is I'm not using my opinion. I'm not sharing my opinion. I'm asking y'all guys, look out in the real world, because y'all in the real world, and share your opinion from y'all experience in the comment section. What I'm saying, is that something you see or you don't see? Do you think everybody competing in top competition outside of the United States? Do you think all those birds are coming out of single mated pens or not? Do you think all those birds are coming from small farms or not? Hit the comment section and let me know. I don't want to just be a talking bobblehead up there. We having a conversation here. What do you think? And I'm going to give y'all guys the opportunity to chime in the comment section. Roger Robinson said, pick nice individuals to breed. I think all of them do. All those big farms, they spend a lot of time. Listen, I know a breeder personally that probably spend 2 to 3 weeks picking out hens, making his brood stock selection. He says one of the most stressful times of the year. The most stressful time of the year, because he know his reputation is only as good as his last season. Y'all guys don't understand the pressure. And I'm not here promoting large farms at all. I would never want a large farm. I didn't stay on large farms. I didn't experience feed. I don't have no desire for none of that at all. At all. This is a good one, man. Well, Ocho say, listen to the crowd, not to sell it, and the crowd never lies. That's a great point. That's a great point. Adrian said he's been a single maiden for the last 30 years. I'm sure you and thousands of other guys have done the same thing. Yeah. Jonathan says that he never flock mates for his pure fowl, but I'll put four hens with a proven cock for show fowl for crosses. Okay. You know, and like I say, guys, this Everett, this is a good one too. Everett said that both produce good fowl. The difference is big farms have more selection. And again, guys, that is not an opinion. That is just a fact. That is not an opinion. It's just a fact. Don't take it from me. Look at the stats. Look at the competitions. Look at the people winning outside the United States. Look at all of these big derbies. Look at where they're getting their fowl from. They're not traveling to 100 small farms buying fowl. They're not only going to farms where they're single mating. See, this is the deal. My point is this. I'm not promoting either or. I'm not promoting flock mating. I'm not promoting single mating. I'm not promoting large farms. I'm not promoting small farms. All I'm saying is some of us need to have our own opinion based on our experience and not have an opinion based on somebody else's opinion. Because a lot of that's where it's coming from. You got guys that have nothing but negative stuff to say about large farms, but have never purchased anything from a large farm. And I know that for a fact because I replied to one guy's comment and said, well, what large farm did you buy from that did that? He said, I would never buy from a large farm. So how are you in the comment section trashing large farms and you never bought from a large farm? You see what I'm saying? But again, individuals in our community don't have a problem with somebody doing that long as they're doing it to somebody else. But if they was doing it to us, we would have a problem with it. If they was doing it to you, you would have a problem with it. But long as they trash talking somebody else based on somebody else's opinion, nobody has a problem with it. Yeah, here's a good one. All these comments is good. All these comments, some great comments coming in. Let me share Raymond's right quick. JJ, I'll get to you in a second. Guys, I appreciate the engagement. Like I say, our comment section is a great opportunity for each one teach one. We can all learn and teach each other. But let's look what Raymond said. It's a great comment as well. Raymond said, it don't matter whether you're whether you flock or single mate. Once you set them down, selection process and other factors come into play at that point. I've seen good come from both. Percentages of good fowl coming off of every 100 raised is key. I agree. See, that's the whole deal. What Raymond said is to me a very, very valid point. You can get stuff off of a single mated farm, but if you can't put all the other stuff together, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. You can have, and guys are, oh, those guys are winning because they have a larger selection. Well, there's a lot of people out there that have the access to the same selection that ain't winning. If single mating was automatically if the process of mating, the method of mating, single or flock mating, if one of them was the ultimate holy grail to determine your sex, to determine your success. I'm thinking about breeding. Listen, if it was automatically a determining factor, me like guaranteed, then it would be consistently winning across the board. If flock mating and single mating was the ultimate thing to determine your success, then it would show in the results. It doesn't show in the results. Just like having good fowl, that just doesn't show in the results either. You need more than just good fowl. We'll talk about that later. Let me jot that down because I do want to talk about that as well. So it's no one determining factor. And that's why I think Raymond's comment is so good, is because he's just highlighting that it takes more than just if it came off a single mate, if it came off a flock. It takes a whole bunch more. Anybody who has been doing it or has done it in the past, back when it was legal, or doing it now in legal countries, know this sport is not one-dimensional. It's not all about, oh, he got power. Oh, he can cut. He can cut. Oh, it's not one-dimensional. It is so many different aspects to you winning that a lot of times one individual thing could be the determining factor for you to lose, but a lot of times one individual thing is not the determining factor if you win. Yep. Great comments coming in, guys. Give me a second. Now, this is definitely not true. Hilltop said negative side is the big farms can't take care of the birds 100%. Hilltop, I completely disagree with that based on my own experience. I don't know about anybody else in the comments section if they agree or disagree. I disagree with that because I have been on farms that's been large. I'm talking about well over 1,000, 2,000. The farms have been immaculate. The birds were in extreme health. They was extremely uniform. That right there, I can't agree with. And I have been to many large farms, so I can't agree with that, Hilltop. But again, that's just from based on my experience. I'm not saying Hilltop is wrong because he may have had a whole different experience. Santien, okay. He says, if I am developing fowl, I single mate. If I am breeding proven fowl, I flock breed so that I get more selection of that cock. Again, guys, and again, Santien, I greatly appreciate you being a member of our YouTube channel. Really appreciate that support. So this is what I'm talking about, guys. And you can look, and again, don't take it from me. Spend some time in this comment section, and you'll see what I'm saying. Spend some time in this comment section, and not spend some time in this comment section, but also do your own research. Start going through, looking at all the big derbies in Mexico over the last 5 years. Look at all in the Philippines in the last 5 years. You know what I mean? You got to understand, that, and once you do your own research, not taking it from me, once you do your own research, you will realize that many of those birds are coming off of flock farms. Yes, they do have a large selection, but they're competing against individuals that have just as big of a selection, just as much money, and they still don't win. So what I'm saying is it's very easy to try to look outside instead of looking inside and say, hey, that individual is winning because of this. That individual is winning because of that. If I had that, I would be able to accomplish the same thing. That is something, once you get out there and realize that it ain't all money, it ain't all one thing. It's a collective thing. Some guys say it's luck. It's a variety of different things. But when you're looking at guys, and I pay a lot of attention to this, when you're looking at guys that's usually in the top 5 all the time, that's not luck. That's not cheating. That's not no one thing. That is the result of experience as a whole, whether if it's 1, 2, the whole team, whatever it is. It's what I call a very successful program. People that's in the top 5 all the time have a very successful program. People who are in the bottom 5 have a very unsuccessful program. That's the thing that's separated. It ain't fancy pins. It ain't, oh, he got the best brood pin. It ain't money. It ain't no one thing. It's just not no one thing. So, guys, let me go through these more comments. Awesome. Let's keep these comments coming. We packing a house today, brothers. We only got 6 to 8 people in here, and these comments are getting, we ramming through. Hey, shout out to all y'all over there on the YouTube channel. Guys, just to let y'all know, next interview is coming up very, very soon. We got 4 of them lined up, waiting on some pictures so we can create these flyers for these guys. Another exciting thing that we actually going to have a interview with about dogs, livestock, you know, the guardians, the protectors. We're going to have an interview just on dogs, So looking forward to doing that with y'all guys, and hopefully y'all guys chime on in. Remember, guys, come on over to the YouTube channel, join as a member so you can watch a live stream. So let's get back to the topic. Okay. These comments are coming in. Tell me this, George. George says that Kane, if they willing to call, most want to sell them as blemished. This is the thing, George. This is my comment to that. If they tell you they're blemish and you buy it, is there something wrong with that? That's the first question. The second question is the blemish that you're talking about, them selling, is it a genetic blemish, a nutritional blemish, or an environmental blemish? Meaning that blemish that they have is a result of genetics, nutrition, or their environment, right? So, George, definitely reply to that, brother. If you still chimed in, you're still hanging on here. Jose Mayo, just to let you know, brother, you asked me a while back about bringing somebody on about purchasing property in Mexico, and I got somebody lined up for that. So just to let you know, brother, I paid attention to what you asked, and I made it happen. So just he's out of town. I think he said he out of town 4 or 5 days, but he's gonna get me a photo so we can put the flyer together. So I definitely try to listen to the comment section and make things happen, but also too, Jose. Mayo, since you asked me that, I'll ask you, why don't you come and show some support and join the membership channel over there on the YouTube? Because as you know, we're bringing valuable information. All right, guys, let's get back to this. We got a lot of yes, sir, Anthony. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, guys, why don't y'all hit the thumbs up button if y'all watching from Facebook. If y'all guys are watching from YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification so y'all guys will get notices. You know, y'all get a notification when we're going live. Also, as well, guys, we've been doing this free content for over 6 years. A lot of people have gotten value from it in many different ways. I know this for a fact because we get a lot of feedback. A lot of the guests that we have came on the show have received a lot of positive feedback, but they also have generated a lot of new business, a lot of new relationships, a lot of new connections. There's a lot of people out there that's gained a ton from these interviews in value. So we did start a membership channel. You can join as little as $4.99 a month. $4.99 a month. You can join as little as $4.99 a month. I got the link in the comment section. Again, 6 years of free comment. Never asked for $1. Show us some love, show us some support, because many of y'all guys know y'all have benefited one way or the other. All righty. Okay. Noah says, if incubator temperature and humidity are correct, what caused crooked toe? Well, no, we ain't gonna get into that. We're not gonna jump off a whole different topic. But what you can do, Noah, if you want to know an answer to that question, you can go watch the Bobby Rogers interview. The Bobby Rogers interview that we done, he talks about what causes that. Also, if you want to go to our Spotify channel, Tammy Shives interview also talks about it as well. So we got many interviews that talk about that. I'm not going to give you the answer. And like I said, in these Facebook groups in the comment section, go and watch an interview. You'll learn more than just what causes the crooked toe thing. It's a lot of things in there that comes in. Manuel, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Hilltop, nobody's debating that at all. Only thing I was talking about is the other statement. I'm not debating how you can compete, how many birds you have, and if you can beat the world. I'm not debating that, not one bit. All I'm saying is your comment was not correct. Saying somebody doesn't take care of their birds good just because they have a lot of them, that is not correct. That's all I was responding to. I wasn't responding to the quality of your birds and who you can beat and who you can't beat. So that's the way I look at it. So Sambo, okay, we got a lot of comments coming in, guys. Give me a second so I can scroll back up to try to get some of the comments that came in earlier. The comments are still coming in. But let me go up here. This is a good one too. Back to George again. George says some farms do the minimum to make money when selling. They get weeded out on their own. That is my exact point. There's no way a guy can sell out. There's no business that can sell out over and over and have a waiting list. Have a waiting list for fat. That's how they're selling out. They're selling out because a lot of those birds are sold before they're even born. So that's basically a waiting list. You can't be producing straight trash if you got a waiting list. There's no way. This community is so small and it thrives on negativity. If they was producing straight trash, they wouldn't even be able to sell a bird. Am I right or wrong? And I'm going to try not to get off topic, guys. I'm going to try not to get off topic. Try not to get off topic. I want to say, if you purchase blemish, it's on you, not the breeder. That's exactly right. And this is my whole thing. If the breeder is telling you, hey, I got this rooster or this hen, got a crooked toe, do you want to buy it? That's up to the person. Some people are like, no, I ain't buying nothing with no crooked toe. Would I buy a bird with a crooked toe? Would I buy a brood stock with a crooked toe? I would buy a brood stock with a crooked toe. That's just me. Some individuals say you must be crazy. You don't know that. Say whatever you want to say. Would I buy a brood stock, a brood cock, or a brood hen with a crooked toe? I mean, I would. It's certain things that I wouldn't buy them for, wouldn't buy them with. But a crooked toe, that's not a big deal to me. That's not a big deal to me. Yeah. Guys, y'all got all these messages coming in. Yeah, Jose Mayo. Yes, if you're on YouTube, if you're on a channel, you should be able to hit the subscribe button. You should be able to hit the subscribe button. And I'm also going to go ahead and post a link. I'm going to post a link in the comment section once again. If you want to support us, and if you want to support us by joining our membership channel. I'm going to post that again one time in the comment section. And guys, I greatly appreciate any support. There we go. I just posted that in there. Jose, Mayo, thanks a lot for coming over to the YouTube channel. Yes, sir. What's up, Brian from Kentucky? So again, guys, and there's so many comments coming in. Anthony said, how many roosters will you sell me for $50? I don't have any roosters I can sell for 50. Yeah, I don't. Let's go to this one. These comments are coming in. Let's pull up Joseph's. Joseph said, a good, well-bred rooster doesn't care who or where his opponent came from. The only thing big farms bring is numbers. Joseph said all they bring is numbers. I think they bring a little bit more than numbers, Joseph, due to the fact that, again, like I talked about earlier, I don't know if you just chimed in. Let's look at the stats of the top 5 competitors over the last 5 years in Mexico and Philippines in the top derbies, and tell me if those birds came from little teeny weeny farms. Tell me if those birds came from farms where they only had 50 roosters. They didn't. So go back to the numbers deal. Some of them are getting fowl from many different farms, not just from one big farm. And that's how a lot of times they get great ones, because they get 100 from here, 100 from here, 100 from here, 100 from here. And now they got 500 to go through the season. And they done got, like, I ain't gonna say the cream of the crop, because selection is all based upon the individual, just like beauty. It's in the eyes of the beholder. Everybody doesn't select exactly the same. But obviously the people that stand in the top 5% of top competition has a very well put together program, and they got their selection process down. And we can say it's numbers, we can say it's money, we can say it's help, we can say it's this, we can say it's that. If that is the case, then why is individuals even competing that don't have money, that don't have 2,000, 50,000 roosters, that don't have fancy pens? If that's what it takes to win, then why is everybody else in the sport? You see what I'm saying? You ever thought about that? If everybody's saying the guys that's winning is the individuals that got all the fowl to pick from, all the money, all the fancy stuff, well, if you know then they gonna win, if that's your concept, and you feel as though that is why they win, and you don't have that stuff, then why are you even in the game? Like, I don't like to participate in anything that I know I don't have a chance at winning. I don't like to participate unless it's something that I'm trying to learn and trying to get good at. But I'm not going to keep donating money when in my mind I'm like, well, I don't have a selection, I don't have the fancy pins, I don't have all the money, I don't have all the feeders, I don't. It's like, well, what are you showing up for? You literally showing up to lose? Or you think the moon's gonna be in the right spot and the sun gonna be in the right spot and your zodiac sign gonna be in line with the Milky Way and you're gonna win? Because I'm not really understanding that. Every time I go in to compete, I have an expectation to win. I truly believe deep down in me, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. And I'm analyzing it as we going through the process. And when I get out of there, I'm trying to figure out why I didn't win. That's it. Y'all guys are coming in hot with these comments. Gary, that's a great point. Gary says so many meanings of blemish could have 2 or 4 spur off. That's exactly right. That's what I'm saying. It's like selection. Some guys would never buy a bird with a crooked toe. I would. The next guy wouldn't. So we both showed up to the place at the same time or the same day. What that guy wouldn't buy, I would buy. I would buy. Yeah. This is a tough one. Ruger boy, it's a very, very tough one. It's very tough to say that. I tell you what, I was at a show not too long ago. I think this was what's today, Thursday? So I don't think it was this past Sunday. I don't think it was this past Sunday. Because it was on Sunday. I don't think it was this past Sunday. It might have been the Sunday before. Ruger boy, let me tell you this, and I'll share this with y'all guys. I can honestly say that Sunday that I was there, it was some extremely tough competition. I'm talking about those guys. Everybody there was hitting on all cylinders. Everybody there was hitting on all cylinders. I mean, I'm not saying everyone was over quick. I'm saying those birds were in shape. Man, those feeders was on point. Whoever trained those birds was on point. Whoever bred those birds was on point. I mean, that was a battle royal. Like that night I was there, every single person there had to earn their win. Every single person there had to earn a win. And let me tell you what's the most amazing part about it. And guys, y'all know I have seen thousands of shows. Y'all all know that. And I'm telling you, and that's not the only time. Now, I'm not trying to sit up here and exaggerate and portray like that's the only time I've seen that. No, it's not. I've seen it many, 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 many times. But it's always impressive. It's always impressive. It's always impressive to see a well-conditioned bird, a healthy bird, the bird that possesses all the genetics, because you can see it in the characteristics, the movement, the peck, the gameness. It was phenomenal. But let me put the cherry on top of that. I don't think any show that night was over a $200 bet. I don't think any show. I think all those bets, they might have had a few $500 bets. But I think they had 40 or 34 or 40 fights that night. And they might have had 2 or 3 that was 500. They might have had 2 or 3 that were 500. Other than that, they were like $200. Guys were just testing pretty much, and that's what it's about. Guys want to beat somebody. They're not trying to outbid you. They're not trying to buy a truck with their winnings. They're not trying to pay their electric bill, their light bill, their mortgage, or buy food with their winnings. They're trying to compete to win. That's it. And I'm telling you, that night, that's why you got to be careful. When you go up in these places that ain't fancy, and I'm going to say that because the place is nice. So let me take that back. The place is nice. But what I'm saying is when you got guys that is coming to compete and they're not coming from quote unquote what people consider fancy places, and the performances that they put on is phenomenal. It just proves to me, like I've always been, and if I have ever visited your farm, I always say the same thing. I don't come here to look at the condition of your farm. I don't come here to pass judgment on your pens. I come here to look at the fowl that you have in the pens. That's it. And everybody know if I have visited their place, that's how I have always been, right? And that again was phenomenal. I mean, I was there all night. Probably 11 hours. And I seen some phenomenal stuff. I mean, those guys, what was so impressive, because a lot of those guys, you never heard of them. They ain't really got no social media. I mean, they got social media, but like some of those guys, I was there. I went on their social media pages. They got a few roosters on there, got their wife on their kids, their cars, stuff like that. But it's not their social media pages is not a huge promotion of fowl. But the performances, those trainers, man, those trainers, and this is the thing. Like those birds were in phenomenal shape. Everybody there that night had to earn their win. And I can name 30 of those guys, and you will never know who they are. And if you even went to their Facebook page, you will see very few things on there about roosters. It was phenomenal. I mean, I was just like, wow. That's all I could say was wow. Them young boys was getting it in. Them young boys was getting it in. I tell you another time, I tell you another time that thank you, Axe, man, for subscribing, showing us your support, man. Greatly appreciate that. Greatly appreciate that. Yeah, that happens, brother. That's what I'm saying. You know, Act, you got it. You know, the thing is, guys, what guys don't understand, and Act is just saying the same thing. He bought a bird from PR for 500, and he got some trash. You know what I mean? That's what I am trying to help these guys understand about all these farm sizes, gauging people, judging people based on a farm size and all that kind of stuff. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. Guys have been coming to me because they know they can trust me. They know I have experience when it comes to selection, and they like my selection. Everybody select different, but they like what I have been selecting, right? And that's what guys don't understand. The same thing happened to me. When I first started buying fowl, I would get certain fowl guys would sell me because they thought I didn't live here. But when they realized I lived here, it was a whole different ball game, because this is a very small island. It's only 36 miles by 100. So once they realized that I lived here, I got access to a whole different selection. I'm talking about way back in 2013. So over the years, obviously, I established a reputation here, a lot of friendships here, have done a lot of things here with them. So it's different. So I do have access to a lot of things that the average person don't have. So it cracks me up when a guy tells me, I say, hey, I want X amount of dollars for this stag or this hen. Okay, I'll check into it. Then I'll see him 3 weeks later. Oh, I just got this from such and such, right? Then you'll find out 6 months later, it ain't what he thought it was. But he was so busy trying to circumvent me and trying to get something for cheaper. What to understand was he wasn't just paying for the bird, he's paying for the selection and the trust as well. And when you go to these farms, regardless of what size they are, if you cannot trust the individual, it doesn't matter what they're telling you. Like a wingman in a war story don't matter if it's coming from somebody that you can't trust. So just because that guy got a small farm, if he's a liar, he's just a liar on a small farm. Just like he would be a liar if he had a big farm. If you got an honest guy, and he's honest on a small farm, he should be honest on a big farm as well. So people, you got to understand that when you're making these purchases, I always say try to establish some type of relationship if you do not know the person. So that, and I already put up my top 3 things that I look for in the selection process and that type of stuff. I already talked about the questions that I asked. I talked about all of this stuff. You know, many guys are so busy trying to buy birds based on price, not understanding that you're about to invest a year, 2 years, 2.5 years of your time. So while you over there trying to buy something for $200 or $100 cheaper or $200 cheaper, you're not really getting cheaper, because you're about to invest 2.5 years or 2 years of your life into these fowl. So just think about that. Just think about that. So it's something that goes over a lot of guys' heads. This is not a candy bar. You know what I mean? This is not a t-shirt. This is something that you're going to feed and raise for 1 to 2 years. And you're literally trying to circumvent and find it for $200 or $300 cheaper. Doesn't make any sense. Once you find somebody that you can trust, shop with them. That is the reason why I've been consistently getting great fowl, because I deal with people that I can trust. But how I even determine where I'm going is what I see at the arenas. I want to see how they performing. I want to see what kind of condition they in. I want to see what kind of characteristics they have. I get to see all of that. And then once I'm satisfied with what I see, then I set up a time. Hey, listen, buddy, I'm going to shoot on by your place. They always say, no problem. You welcome anytime. My casa is your casa. Anytime. So that's the whole process. I'm not going over there trying to work with them on the prices and all that kind of stuff, because I know my client is about to put 1 or 2 years of time into this. That's it. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. So, hopefully, Ak, if I can help you out, man, shoot me a message. I'll definitely see what I can do to help you for sure. Yeah, all right, let's hit some of these comments. Gary said could be blemish from chipped beak or one eye. Exactly. They got some great, I know personally, some great birds in brood pens right now that got broken beaks in one eye, but they one of the main brood pens on that farm. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. Guys like, I'm not going to buy that because the guy that broke toe, or these guys out here selling blemishes. The guy that I'm talking about, he won't even sell that rooster. He won't even sell that brood cock. He got one eye and a broken top beak. But he's always in them brood pens. Always. Always in them brood pens. So somebody can look and say, oh, why would you pay $1,000 or $1,500 for that brood cock? He's got one eye and a broken beak. Ask the guy who owned him. You see what I'm saying? So as long as nobody's deceiving you, as long as nobody's deceiving you, then it is what it is. Yeah. Wow. Anthony Nelson, I ain't gonna put that up on the screen, but guys can look at it in the comment section. Yes. Yes. Great comments, guys. Great comments, guys. Let me scroll back up to the top so I can start getting some of these comments. I wish everybody was on the YouTube channel watching this, because it'd be easier for me to go through the comment section. I'm trying to go through the comment section on 3 different pages. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you, Joe Mayo. Thank you, Joe Mayo. Greatly appreciate you joining and showing us support over there on our YouTube channel membership. I'm sorry, Joe. Jose. I used to call him Mr. Mayo. Jose Mayo brought up to me in a live stream. I don't know if it was like a month ago or something like that, or it might have been a month ago. But he brought up in the comments section during a live stream about bringing somebody on. And I know we're getting off topic, guys, but so what? We're just having a conversation. But he brought up in the comment section that if I can find somebody to bring somebody on that can educate individuals in the States if they wanted to buy property in Mexico, what was the process? So I went on my search. So I got somebody. I got somebody who's about to purchase property in Mexico, and he's explaining to me all the ins and outs, the process. It's not as hard as you think, but it's not as easy as you think. It's a lot of nuances to it, a lot of small print to it. So I found the guy. Like I said, he's going to send me a picture, and we're going to schedule him. Jose, I hope you're on to watch it. But yeah, he's going to come on the show and talk about the process of him living in the States and purchasing property in Mexico. And he's going to take us through. I think it's going to be a great episode, along with the other ones, but it's something that nobody else have ever done. Jose Mayo, I greatly appreciate you bringing that up. And just to show y'all guys, I do pay attention to the comment section, and I do try to bring y'all guys what y'all looking for within reason. Within reason. So, Mr. Mayo, stay tuned, brother. We got that coming up. We got that coming. We should have it scheduled for within the next 2 weeks. We also got a great interview coming up about livestock dogs. You know, with these great Pyrenees, Anatolas, and blah, blah, blah. You know, all them dogs y'all use on them farms. Yeah. We got an interview coming up with that. That's gonna be a great interview as well. Yep. Okay, guys, let me try to get through some more of these comments. Now, this is a good one. 81 Ace. This is a conversation I had with a good friend of mine here all the time. 81 Ace says that, yeah, but at least put something back into your pocket to be able to feed your yard. This is the deal, guys. And I had this conversation with my good friend Chino all the time. There is nothing wrong with these birds paying for their self. It's so much, some guys have so much pride in the fact that they don't sell a feather. No problem. They take all the money out, they take money from their household to feed their farm. No problem. That works for them. What I don't agree with is when individuals try to discourage or label somebody as a peddler just because they're selling some fowl. What is wrong? What is the difference in selling fowl and being a peddler? But a peddler is a deceiver. Is an individual that's going to tell you whatever he need to hear to make a sale. That's what a peddler is. A peddler don't have anything to do with the amount of fowl you sell. You can't say just because somebody sell 1,000 fowl, they're a peddler. But if they honest, they selling quality fowl, that means they're a peddler. But Harold over there that's selling 30 fowl a year, but he's selling with a bunch of lies. He's not a peddler. Just think about that. So that's another cliche, statement, but with no backstory to it. But there's nothing wrong with that. What is wrong with selling 1, 2, 3 birds a month or sell 10 birds a season to buy you a couple $1,000s to go towards your feed or pins or water cups or wormers or this? What is wrong with that? What is this whole deal with? I never sold a feather my whole life. Okay, no problem. I know an individual, we actually interviewed him, built his whole farm and didn't take $1 out of his pocket. His chickens paid for him to rebuild from zero to where he's at today. And he sold quality fowl and had repeat customers and do very little advertisement. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. And I actually have been talking to some close friends of mine and telling them the same thing. That's the same thing with me. I tell my buddy, I say, hey, these fowl is going to build my farm back. Hey, Maria took it away. I built the first one out of my pocket. I'm not building the next one out of my pocket. These birds are going to build my farm. I'm selling quality fowl. What's the problem? There's nothing wrong with that. Just remember, pride is the cause of a lot of suffering. Now, you're telling me that you would rather hold on to your pride that you never sold a feather in your life and you're struggling to buy feed? How much sense do that make? That's literally against the first law of nature, which is self-preservation. You telling me that if you got a bill to pay and you have no other source of money, you ain't gonna go to the pawn shop because you're too prideful to go to the pawn shop? God willing, I never had to. But think about that. So you look down at a person because they go to the pawn shop to get some money to catch up on a bill or unexpected expense? What's wrong with that? If an individual is selling a few fowl, the bot, man, he's in here in Puerto Rico, like a top bag of feed is $38 a bag. $38 a bag. How much you think a trio would be in the US if feed was $38 a bag? Think about that. Brian said he ain't got nothing fancy, but he lived with his chickens. Exactly. And that right there, what Brian is saying, is the result of what I seen the other night. Man, those guys, everybody was hitting on all cylinders. The feeders, which we call them galletos, the trainers, and the breeders, because here there is no handling. The birds here win and lose on their own. There's no human intervention. So those birds were hitting on those guys were very, very impressive. And they're not famous. You would not purchase a bird from them based on their wing band. You would not purchase a bird from them based on their name. Because to the average person, their name and their wing band don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing. And see, that's what separates me from the average person, being able to go to the pits 4 days a week and do farm visits throughout the week. I get to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff. That's why I really come to a conclusion. Don't even look at the name and the wingman. You got to look at the trust. I don't deal with nobody I don't trust. Period. Because if you can't trust them, what is the value of the wingman? What is the value of it? What is the value of the pedigree that he give you? What is the value of the story he tells you about that fowl? What is the value? It has none. If you can't trust them, nothing else matters. Am I right or wrong? Answer in the comment section. Am I right or am I wrong? Appreciate y'all guys chiming in over there on the YouTube. Over there on the YouTube. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see. Petler is like a guy who used to come to my dad's farm every weekend, lights. And yeah. Okay. A peddler is like a guy used to come to my dad's farm and everything yellow leg and light shade. Sell them as penny hatch. Yeah, that's a peddler right there eating. Javino, and well, I wish you luck at your appointment, brother. Hope all is well with you. Yes, sir. Wish you luck, man. Hope you have some great news going to your neurologist appointment. Hope you have great news. Jay said, Jim, I have a question. What question you got, Jay? Yeah, Dead Game Farm said, yeah, that's true. Dead Game said, no BS. I have a crooked toe in the backyard, and he has been proven his right. Exactly. Yep. Yep. That's it. Yep. That is it. That is it. Yep. It's a ton of comments, guys, that's coming in. I'm trying to scroll through these comments. Wow, there's so many comments coming in. You know, it's again, it's just Uh, it's so much to it, guys. It's so much to it. It's not one thing. It's not one thing. Let me pull up this comment right here. Manuel said the risk of buying something and getting trashed is low with a big breeder because that's their job. Small breeders do it as a hobby, so they don't put the same amount of effort and attention into their birds. I don't agree with that, and let me tell you, I'm saying I don't agree with it based on my experience. Uh, to me, I don't think it has anything to do with the farm size. I think a lot of prejudgment goes into we are automatically prejudge something based on a farm size, based on how long somebody's been doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I just believe that I just believe, I just believe that you got to judge it based on an individual person and not the size of the farm, because you got crooks from small, medium, and large. You got solid breeders, small, medium, and large. You got knowledge breeders, small, medium, and large. You got guys who don't know what they're doing, small and medium. It's very hard to have a large farm and not know what you're doing. That's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to even be a medium-sized farm and not know what you're doing. You can kind of get by being a small farm and not know what you're doing. But a larger farm, that's not really, you don't get large by not knowing what you're doing. Yeah. Um, wow. Yeah, see, and different people have different experiences. You know what I mean? Different people have different experiences based on farm sizes and all that kind of stuff. I always say the most important thing is, again, doing business with somebody that you can trust. My personal opinion, that's number one. Um, Doing business with somebody you can trust. And that's not only just in game fowl, that's even outside of game fowl. I got a darn moth and flew in here. That's in or outside of game fowl. So I always say number one is definitely dealing with somebody that you can trust. Yeah, it's a lot of great comments coming in. Guys, give me a second. Let me scroll through these comments. Um, okay. Yeah. JJ Hurst says this is a good point. Good birds speak for themselves and can and will pay for themselves regardless of the farm size. I mean, I think I agree with that. And even if it's not you selling, they'll pay for themselves because they keep you from having to buy the same amount you used to buy before you had them. You know what I mean? So even if you're not selling, but having a good pair or selection cause you to buy less, I think that's another way they pay for themselves. And that's what I kind of did at first off. I was buying for like the first 4 years, and I was just like, hold on, man, I can't keep buying. And it's not that it's not that I had a problem with buying, is I had a problem with not having any predictability. But the flip side of that is I always had an extremely good season because I was always buying really good fowl. That's another thing. That's another thing that these top competitors have that's competing outside the United States is different If you go to one farm that have 1,000 roosters at one farm, right? And you got to pick, you got to pick, say, 100 from that 1,000 versus going to 10 farms that got 1,000 each, and you pick 10 of them from each farm. You'll probably do better picking 10 from 10 different farms than buying 100 from one farm. And I'm just talking that from experience. I'm just talking about that from experience. So it's just something to think about. You know what I mean? It's something to think about. Again, just saying from my experience. This is right. This is for sure. I'll bring up JJ one more time. He said, and this goes back to what I said earlier. JJ said, I know people with small farms that have some of the baddest birds on the planet, but you probably never heard of them. Not due to they want to be yeah, well, not only that, man. I don't even think, hold on, guys. Yeah, I don't even think is the fact that they are trying not to be heard of. I think that they are just so focused on competing. I think that's what it is. I don't think they're avoiding attention, but they're not seeking attention. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's what the difference is as well. They're not avoiding attention. They're just not seeking attention. And that's a huge difference. And like I said about it, if anybody was on here and y'all guys was with me not last Sunday, Sunday before last, whatever day that was, you would have all been extremely impressed. And I promise you, you could not have named one of those individuals in there. And the average person wouldn't be able to name them as well. They'll be able to name a lot of those trainers because those trainers are really good. But the funny thing about it is most of them was young. The breeders and the trainers, most of them was young. I mean, it was a really, really very impressive show. Everybody there earned those wins. Earn it. And the ones that walked out as losers walked out with their head held high. That was a tough that was a tough day. That was a tough day. Very tough day. Let's go through some of these comments again. Santian said, I brought some great fowl from a guy up north. He said, I don't prove my birds anymore, so I am a peddler now. I said, man, these are nice. I don't see you as a peddler. You're real honest. Exactly. Just because he's not actively competing. See, that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of times we very hypocritical on how we judge individuals. If we use that same concept of how we judge other people and apply it to us, we would think it's unfair. Like, we don't think it's okay for people to have a negative opinion about us and don't even know us. But we 100% okay with people having a negative opinion about farms that never done business with the farm. Don't that kind of seem hypocritical? Yeah. This is another thing. This is okay, Jay. Jay said to JJ, how you know that? Have they shown at the best pits out there? So this is my deal. So you're saying, Jay Sanchez, so you're saying the only way you can prove that you have the best fowl is you have to show at the best pits. So basically, if your fowl can cut, he will only cut at the best places. Like he wouldn't cut at a place that's a smaller place. Like that to me, I don't understand that. If a bird can cut, if a bird can fight, if a bird is game, how does it matter what place he's in? So depending on the place, he will show particular characteristics. I don't. That's like saying the only people that got good fowl is famous people. I don't agree with that. But again, there's not agree or disagree, it's just a different of perspectives on it. Yeah, it's different. If y'all guys think that the only way you can see if you got a good bird is at a big show, I don't know. I tell you what, I have seen thousands, and what I seen that other night was phenomenal. Was phenomenal. I don't know. That saying that then is also saying, you know, if you're saying that you can only have good bird, know if you got good birds or not, if you fight it at the biggest places, it's like saying that anybody who bet big money on a bird got to automatically be a good bird. We all know that's not true. Well, I ain't gonna say we all know. Some of us, if you've been in the trenches long enough, you know that how much something is bet on how much somebody bet on a bird does not determine the quality of the fight. It doesn't even determine the quality of the bird. It just don't. And saying that a bird is only good, you only know if a bird is good if he's fighting in the most famous places. I just see it different. Yeah, I just see it different. Yeah, that's a lot of. Yeah, Anthony says a good handler can make average chicken look like a great chicken. Yeah, but that's only in places where they handle. They don't handle in the Philippines. They don't handle in a lot of the Latin countries, Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands, and South America, and all that. There's no handling. So mainly in Mexico and then back in the day in the U.S. That happened. But outside of those two places, there isn't really no handling. So yeah, that applies to the States for sure. Um yeah, exactly. Alex said very true and very hypocritical. Exactly. Exactly. You know, I agree with this, Brian. Uh Good birds can win anywhere. And you know, good birds can win anywhere. I have seen good birds can win anywhere. And some guys I have seen with big money have big wins, go in those mountains and get demolished. So what do you call that? See, that's why I don't agree with the how do you know if you got good birds? You only know if you got good birds if they're fighting in the biggest pits. I don't know how it is were you showing that, but here they got an enormous pit with all the big money players. But when they go in the mountains, they don't have that same success. Think about that. They don't have that same success. Why not? When all they've been doing is fighting in the biggest place with the biggest money, with guys that got the access to everything, the best trainers, the best food, the nicest facilities, everything. They go into these mountains. They don't all have the same result. They don't all have the same success. But why not? Why not? That's what I'm saying. Based on facts, you can't determine the quality of a bird saying he's good or bad just because he's at the biggest shows. That's not true. That's not true. From my experience, I don't agree with that. Yes. Ruger boy, this is a great point. This is the thing. An individual who's been in this sport long enough should be able to look at a fight and know if he's looking at good birds or not. I don't care where he's at. I don't care where he's at. Somebody with experience should be able to say, you know what, that was a good bird. period. It shouldn't matter what place it's at. And this is not, let me see how I can say it. Because this doesn't only apply, it just doesn't apply just to, it just doesn't apply to roosters. It applies to a whole bunch of other competitions. But the goal is to compete against the best. That's the goal. That's not everybody's goal, though. See, that's the thing. 60% of these guys in this sport, probably 70 or 80% of these guys in this sport, the goal is not to compete against the best. The goal is to win. Tell me in the comments, do you agree or disagree? Tell me in the comments if you disagree. And Ruger boy, that's what I'm saying. I have seen it. I have seen the rich guys come to the mountains where the guys are at who can only afford to bet 200 and get destroyed. You know, and then I have seen those same mountain guys find a backer and go up to the big pit and destroy something over there. I've just seen it way too many times. Nobody can convince me that the determining factor of the quality of a bird is totally tied to the amount of money or the place that he showed. Now, the other side to that is, and I get your point, Ruger boy. I get your point, Jay Sanchez, JJ Hurst. I get exactly what y'all guys are saying. And let me explain to you a scenario so y'all know that I understand what y'all guys are saying. And I'm not saying I totally disagree with y'all guys at all. I'm saying like it's not like a one holy grail determining factor. That's all I'm saying, right? Let me give y'all guys an example. I see what y'all guys are saying because it's just like guys that are competing and saying they got a 90% win ratio, you know, say back in the day in the States. I got a 90% win ratio, but all they shows they're going to is $300 derbies, right? And a lot of times, guys that's showing in $300 derbies, maybe they birds don't have top care. Maybe they're not putting a whole bunch into it because they don't have a whole bunch invested. But then there's also guys there that $300 is a lot of money. And they put everything they got into that show. And then there's also guys there that his pride is bigger than any amount of money or is bigger than the building. And he's going to do everything possible to win. And those guys are the ones that's hard to beat. Those are the guys that come out those mountains. And I competed against one. I told y'all guys the story when that guy made my bird fly out the pit. I told you that story. Y'all guys laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed, which it was funny. At the time, it was humiliating, but it was funny. And it happened to me from a guy who's about 80 years old, and all he had was $50. That's all he had. And I'm not going to get into the story because I told the story a bunch of times. Y'all guys, it was funny. But all he had was 50. And that rooster he had was an assassin. That's it. It was an assassin. It made my bird fly out the pit three times. 3 times. So that's a good bird. That wasn't in no big fancy place. It was only for $50. But what I seen with my own eyeballs, that bird was phenomenal. Definitely phenomenal. Okay, guys, there's so many comments coming in. Yes. Okay, guys, let's see. You know what, Jay? I mean, we ain't gonna go back and forth on it. You know, we ain't gonna go back and forth on it. But if you believe that, then why don't? So basically, what you're saying, Jay, is well, why don't guys just go to small shows so they can rack up a whole bunch of money to go to the big show? Why don't they do that? If it's so easy to win at these small shows, why don't guys go to smaller shows, take their lunch money, and use that for the big show? Use that to build more pins. Use that to buy more brood stock. Use that to pay for plane tickets and all that. Why they don't do that? It ain't that easy, man. It's just not that easy. It really ain't. You know, that's just my opinion on it. But again, we definitely just have a difference of opinion on that, different perspectives. And I guess we both obviously sharing from our experience. I'm sharing from my experience. You sharing from your experience. Those small places are tough, just like the big ones. But I have seen shows where they had bet 15,000 on one fight, and the fight was pure D trash. So if what you're saying is correct, why was that fight trash? It was in the biggest place, biggest pit here, and I recorded it. Biggest pit here, and it was for $15,000, and the fight was trash. How was it trash? Then, if what you're saying is correct, how was that $15,000 fight trash in the biggest pit on the island? That's what I'm saying. There's no absolute, man. I hear what you're saying. There's no absolute, dude. Because if it was an absolute, that $15,000 fight would have been a phenomenal fight. And it was between two very well-known breeders. And obviously people had a lot of confidence in them to bet 15,000. Yep. And it was in the biggest pit on the island. And the fight was purity trash, certified trash. The fight was trash. And everybody in there know it was trash. Period. So that's what I'm saying. I have seen way too much to just say, yeah, I agree. I see your point, but no, I don't know. I definitely see your point for sure. 100% I see your point. Because like I say, it's just like somebody constantly competing at the $300 derbies and thinking that, you know, they're the big dog. And then when they go to the big shows, they don't win. But there's a lot of guys that compete at $2,000 derbies and go to the big shows and don't win. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that go to the big shows and don't win. So, you know, it's a lot of factors, Jay, that is beyond just quality fowl. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of factors that go into winning besides just fowl. If it was just fowl, yeah, it'd be cut and dry. But I just think you're making it way too cut and dry. And I just don't think it's that cut and dry. I don't think it's just that black and white. Well, JJ, that's what I'm saying. JJ Hurst. I thought you was just agreeing with Jay, talking about the only place that there's good, you have good fowl is at big places. I don't agree with that. But I see a comment now saying that bush fights is just as hard. I mean, I agree. They have cock of the year everywhere, Jay, not just in big places. Wait, so what are you talking about? They got cock of the year in places that you won't hear about because they're private. So what does that mean? This is the thing, and this goes back. This is the funny thing about, and I'm gonna leave this alone after this. What Jay Sanchez is saying, I'm gonna bring up this Scott Miller comment, and Scott is just talking about exactly what I just talked about. There has been some of the guys that compete in the big derbies come to the $300 derbies and get whipped. That happens all the time on the island. But this is one thing I want to share with you, Jay. Many of the guys competing in those big shows, a lot of those big farms that they're getting fowl from, a lot of the fowl that they're selling is competing in those smaller shows. They're not only using 1, 2, 3 events a year to determine their selection process. So, you know, again, it's saying cock of the year. They got cock of the year everywhere. Everywhere. But to me personally, you know, if Jay, you should be getting rich. That's all I can say. Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely a big determinant factor. It's a problem sometimes. Mario said it's because the big pits entry fees are nearly unaffordable to the small timer gym who can't honestly afford a 5, 7 entry fee alone unless you have funny money on you. But that's my whole point, Mario. So saying somebody has to compete in a big place to determine they got great fowl when an entry fee is 5,000 or entry fee is 10,000. I mean, come on. That ain't that is yeah. No, wrong answer. That's definitely not it. That's definitely not it. Because I see some of the entry fees down there in Mexico, and it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Same ones and the ones in the Philippines. They're a lot of money. The average guy can't afford those entry fees. And if he could, maybe he can do it once a year. The average guy cannot afford to go and compete in all those big shows in Mexico unless, like what Jay said, I mean what Mario just said. So how do you even be considered a cocker of the year? You got to even have money to even compete. And we all know if you got 100 entries, what you got, a 4% chance of winning, a 10% chance of winning? What is it going to be, 10 people? If it's 100 entries in the 10 people, you know what I mean? What you got? You got a 90% chance you're going to lose. I mean, I don't know. So, Jay, tell me, based on your experience, how many cockers of the year have you won? And if you have not won cocker of the year, do that mean the foul you have is no good? And if you have cocker of the year, have all your fights been easy? I'm saying outside the US. Anthony said, do they pay American dollars if you win? I think so. Yeah, I think it's all American money, I think. Right. Now, this is right. Jay said one of the great things about this sport is the rooster you're setting down is the great equalizer. No matter how much money you have, those birds don't care. I've seen people barely getting by, but show up with ace cocks every time. I have seen people with money go home confused, cause the old man chewing red man in a corner took all his money and sent him home. That's what I'm talking about. Again, this is stuff that I seen, guys. This ain't something I read on YouTube. This ain't come out of no Facebook group. This ain't no war story that somebody told me that ate nachos at the Bayou Club. I have seen this over and over and over. Good birds is where you find them. Period. Good birds are where you find them. It's just that simple. All of this whole concept of these absolute holy grails, like, oh, this ain't this, or this is that, it ain't nothing absolute. There's nothing absolute. Not only in this is not only in chickens, it happens in dogs, it happens in horses. Anything like the last one, the last great horse was like some trainer horse or something like that. That horse was great. That race didn't make the horse great. That race didn't make that horse run faster. The horse didn't run faster because the amount of money it was bet on it. That horse was always great. Nobody just paid attention to it. That's it. That's it. That proves my point. Jay, I'm asking you. I hear everything that you're saying. I'm asking you, Jay, how good are you outside of the US? Have you won Cocker of the Year? Do you only compete in those big places? And if you only compete in those big places and you haven't won Cocker of the Year, do that mean your fowl is no good? That's a yes or no answer. All those guys that you're talking about, they're names, but that don't mean that they was the greatest. You telling me those guys didn't lose? Every guy you just named in that thing took losses. And they didn't always lose against well-known people. They didn't always win against well-known people. And that's a fact. Just ask their family members. I have seen some of the guys that you naming in there, I have seen some of that same stuff, didn't look impressive at all. So what does, what does that mean? What is all of this like telling us? That's what I'm trying to understand. But I asked you that question a minute ago. I need you to answer that question. This is a good one. When old tough guys can't afford to play, it gets very interesting. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I have met some extremely knowledgeable cockers. I have also seen some extremely good fowl. But very rarely have I seen a great cocker that can afford a $10,000 entry fee. I've very rarely seen a great cocker that can afford a $5,000 entry fee. And you want me to prove my point? How many of those guys had backers? If you got a backer, that's telling me right there you're not there. That foul one, not the 10K, but you only got there because of the money. That's it. The foul was the foul already. You just stumbled across somebody that's willing to back you on 5 or 10,000. But other than that, the foul is still the exact foul, regardless if you was going to bet 1,000 on them, which that's all you can afford, or somebody was able to back you for 5,000 or 10,000. The foul never changed. Jay, let's leave it at this. I'm not disagreeing with you. First of all, you're probably not going to meet them 100 times, right? But I see your point. You have a valid point, but I'm asking I'm asking you that question. I'm asking you to answer the question that I asked you. That's it. I've been to the Hawaiian more than one time, Jay. What are you talking about? Like all these names and stuff that you saying, bro, this is not my first time around the corner. You haven't really studied my history. Even though I didn't eat nachos at the Bayou Club and I haven't been doing this for 18 generations and all of that stuff, I've been in Hawaii more than one time. I done been in cock houses, some of the greats. I've been on their farm, in their cock houses, sat on a couch, ate at their table. You're not talking to somebody who hasn't been around. I'm not a social media guy. Like, I'm not that guy. So the stuff that you're talking about, bro, I got a whole different perspective, man. I have a whole different perspective on it. And it's all from experience. Now you said what question? All right, I'm done, Jay. I'm done. I'm done, brother. I'm done. I know a little guy right now that's a good friend of mine that live in Texas that's small that won a Hawaiian. I know some guys in Tennessee, a father and son, small that won a Hawaiian. Bro, you know what, Jay? I can see right now you're not talking from facts. You're not talking from facts. I'm talking from experience. You just talking. Thank you. All right. I apologize. Guys, I apologize. Jay, we done. We done. Guys, I apologize for that. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Okay. So, guys, let's get back. I know we've been on here almost 2 hours. I don't know if y'all guys' battery is dying, but let's get back to the point. Okay. Let's see here. Yes, Mario, you're right. I'm not gonna pull that comment up because you're gonna move on to something else. Okay. So what I wanted to talk about also too is the different farm sizes, small, medium, and large. A guy was telling me saying that and I guess it spoke about in his comment too, about the larger farms, right? And we originally talked about the resentment between smaller farms and larger farms, right? And between smaller farms and larger farms, I believe that the larger you can gain a lot of value from larger farms. This is what I mean by that. All the large farms I've been to, they know a lot about health. They know a lot about raising. They know a lot about incubators. They know about natural hatch. They know how to set a family. They know how to improve a family. They know how to create. They know how to set up a farm. So, and the vast majority of them didn't start out as big as they are today. So most of them started off small. And to think that just because they're big, that they don't know how to run a small farm. And that was a conversation earlier about you have to really look at it like this. The comment was, oh, those big guys, they don't really know. They just doing particular things like this. They just breeding for numbers, this, and that. I said, okay, well, just take that out the mix. Do you believe you can pick up the phone and ask one of those owners of those big farms how to set a family? Do you believe if you picked up the phone and asked one of those owners of the big farms, if you bred this to this, what you pretty much going to have? If you picked up the phone and asked a big farm, hey, how do I run this incubator? Do you think they'll be able to tell you? Do you think if you picked up the phone and asked one of those big farms that you tell them you're dealing with this kind of disease, that they'll be able to help you? I think the answer to all those questions are yes. Yes. I also believe that if you take somebody from a big farm that's say raising 2,000 and you put them on a farm that's raising 50, I believe they'll have the ability and skill to raise 50 roosters. I believe they will. But can you take somebody raising 50 roosters and set them on a farm with 2,000 and think they can run that farm in 2,000? I mean, from the get-go, from the start. I think personally, the answer is going to be no. I think personally, the answer is going to be no. But if you flip it, the big guy will be able to run a 50-yard farm, 100. They'll be able to run 50, 100, 200. They'll be able to run that with no problem. But the guy who got 200, you put him on 2,000, he's going to have a problem. So my point is, instead of us, and I'm not saying all of us, but the ones that has this resentment against the big farms, if you don't like what they do, just don't do business with them. But don't lose the opportunity to learn from them because you don't want to do business with them. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's guys that won't watch an interview from a big farm because they have resentment against a big farm, even though the person that's being interviewed can bring a ton of value to the person that's watching that only got 50 roosters in their yard. You see what I'm saying? So don't let your resentment get in the way of the opportunity for you to learn something. You know what I mean? Definitely take it for what it's worth. If you don't like the system that the big farms use to breed, like if you don't like flock breeding, don't purchase any fowl from them. If you don't think they test enough, don't purchase any fowl from them. If you don't like the fact that they don't personally show anymore, don't purchase any fowl from them. But is it things that you can learn from them? It's a ton of stuff that you can learn from them. So don't miss the opportunity to learn from them because you don't like what they're doing with their fowl. Okay? So my next point, that goes to, I think I covered 2 and 1 about the experience. About the experience. What I have learned is there's a ton of experience on those large places. It is because, excuse me, apologize, excuse me. It's because a lot of those farms that I have been to didn't start off big. And even if they started off medium size, it didn't matter because they still had to learn a lot. They make a lot of mistakes. They had to learn a lot to continue to be in a position that they're in. So again, don't miss the opportunity to learn something because you don't like what they're doing with their fowl. The other thing I want to talk about is large farms only probably make up about 5% of the community. So the backbone of this sport has been and will always be small to medium-sized farms. That's it. That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, small to medium-sized breeders has been and will always be the backbone of this sport. So I think we spend too much time criticizing large farms instead of learning from them. And we're not reflecting on what's going on with the small and medium-sized farms. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Since we done talked about the large farms. Let's talk about the small farms. There's more people with small farms in Facebook groups asking questions like, why is my hen not laying eggs? What is this kind of sickness? What you think killed this hen or rooster? Who you think eating these eggs? How do you deal with this sickness? What's the best feed to use? You know, what's the best wormer? You know, just think about that. Have you ever seen somebody owning a large farm and any of those Facebook groups asking questions? Or usually they're in there answering questions. Think about that. Think about that. So they have a lot of experience that the small and medium farm sizes don't. But this is what I will tell you. There's different departments in this. Like I said, it's not one-dimensional. It's multi-dimensional, right? There is different ways. There's different things you have to do depending on how many fowl you have on your farm. If you got 50, you can run a system at 50. If you got 200, you run that system at 200. When you get up to 500, you're going to run a different system at 500. And I learned this also, too, as a fact from an individual family that really only had, they had like between, he said, 65 to 80. Very competitive at a time, only had 65 to 80 and was doing well. It was one of those big names. And then they end up growing to becoming a larger farm. He said that the things that they done when they had 80, they had to do things different when they had 300. He said, but when they got 600, they started dealing with diseases on a farm that they never, ever dealt with before. Think about that. So in the department of raising fowl, the larger farms got more experience because they have raised fowl through more stages. But the guys who's raising 50, 60, 70, 80, 200, 300, 400, those guys are very knowledgeable. They're just as, and in some cases can be more knowledgeable than a guy that got 3,000. That is a fact. There's guys who got 200 that they knowledge level, they might can't raise 5,000 birds, but if you give them 2-3 shows, they're going to have them solid. They can raise healthy fowl. They can point. They can condition. They can take care of them. They can raise biddies. They can do all of that. They can't do it at 3,000 because that ain't their system. But when it comes to their knowledge, they know what kind of worms. They know how to heal sicknesses. They know how to do. Their culling is strong. And they only got 200. They only got 100. I know somebody who only got 36. So again, it goes back to, like I said before, that comment like, quality over quantity, but then you can't directly correlate quantity to quality. Because just because somebody got 50 don't mean they good. And just because somebody got 1,000 don't mean they bad. Just because somebody's only raising 50 don't mean they don't know what they're doing. And just because somebody raising 2,000 don't mean they know everything. And I think that's where some guys, a small group, not many, a small group get it confused. They think guys that ate nachos at the Bayou Club, that got a building full of trophies, their way is the only way. I know guys in their 60s, 70s, and 80s that's still open-minded. I know guys in their 80s that still watch Journey to the Pit interviews. I've been messaged from a guy in his 80s saying that I'm 80 years old. I've been in foul all my life, and I still learn from. I watch those interviews, and I still learn. And he's 82. I still got the message, and he's 82. But then you got guys that's in their 40s and 50s. You can't tell them nothing. You got guys in their 30s. You can't tell them nothing. But then you got guys in their 20s that's like a sponge that sometimes listen to too many people. You follow what I'm saying? So, just many ways to look at it. There's many ways to look at it. OBS, what's up, brother? Thank you, Christian. Jay, just let it go, brother. Let's let it go because we all trying to focus on you. You started a debate. I appreciate you chiming in. I think we got to that, man. But you're really just taking away from the experience in the comment section of everybody else. I already done veered off topic trying to address the comments, but you really taking it to a whole nother level now, brother. Let's just all get back in here, each one teach one. Right now, it just seems like we in a peeing contest now. Mario, you out in Guam, brother? This is a good question. Here's Lee. Lee said, this is a good question. Lee said, what you consider small, medium, and large? I think anything over 1,000. Honestly, anything over 500 to me is a large farm. And I mean 500 on a cord, or say 500 in pins. That's pretty big. That's a lot. I'm not saying 500 between biddies and all that kind of stuff, and then you're gonna cull down and you might be left with 3. You know what I mean? I'm saying like you got 500 on a cord at all times. That's a pretty big farm. I done been in places and I done stayed in places that got thousands. I mean, that's big. And we'll talk about the care, how many it takes, because I think that's another misconception too of how many people it take to run these large farms, because I always see a lot of negative comments on that. Well, those guys are doing well because they got a bunch of help. That's not true. I don't know how many large farms they've been to, but that's not always true. Yeah. So Mario said a small farm. Yeah, small. 50 to 100 birds is a lot of birds, man. I know it really depends on, again, outside of the country, the weapon. Some of you need 1 or 200 to even make it through the season. You know what I mean? But 100 is a lot of birds. I mean, I would say 100 is, anything up to, say, 200 is small. From 2 to 500 is medium. Once you get over 500 on a core all year long, that's a lot of birds, man. That's large. To me, that's big. So that's the answer to your question, Lee. And that's not no sketched in stone. Everybody, there's different comments in the comment section that got different numbers. But that's kind of what I consider, because I see the amount of work that it takes. 500 is a lot of birds to have. Like I'm talking about all year. I'm not talking about, you know, I hatched out 500 and then by the time you raise and cull and a couple raccoons eat some, coyotes eat some, possum, hawks, all that, then you left with, you know, 300. You know, that's what I'm talking about. But if you got 500 on a cord all year, that's a lot of birds, man. That's a lot. To me, it's a lot. So that's also Ruger boy. Yeah, we got Mario in there chiming in from Guam. Okay, Mario, what you got over there? So out in Guam, Mario says, I'm a small time. I raise between 50 and 100. I might have to hatch out 500 chicks to get that number. Mother Nature is the first line of defense in culling. Raising fowl in Guam is very extremely and tough. I believe it. Yep, I believe it. I believe it. I believe y'all guys got that climate, like tropical climate. You know, high humidity, a lot of rain, a lot of moisture, a lot of coryza all the time. The good thing about being in the Caribbean is we don't have to deal with a lot of varmints. We don't have to worry about dealing with a lot of we don't have to worry about dealing with coyotes and foxes and raccoons and possums and bobcats and bears and all that stuff. The only thing we got to really worry about here is two-legged thieves, which it ain't much of that. I don't really hear much about chicken theft on the island because the consequences are so severe. And dogs. That's really it. Dogs. So dogs, nature, and personal culling. Yep. Yeah. Anthony says skunks and owls. Yeah, it's all kinds of stuff. And Brian, hey, hold on, Brian. Not only that, y'all know y'all got those big mountain lions up there. They let those mountain lions loose in Kentucky now. They let those mountain lions loose. Let me scroll through some of these comments. Yeah, Chris Copus he's a heck of a rooster man. 100%. 100%. Jay Gomez, if you still watching, I ain't gonna put your comment up on the screen, but you made a very valid comment. Very, very valid comment. But we moved on from that, but a very valid comment. Yes, and regardless of you know, regardless of how big and how small you are, everybody loses. You know, everybody loses. Chester, what's up, brother from Hawaii? I'm assuming. OBS said his biggest thing is hawks. Yeah. I don't know if y'all guys have watched, but we did a interview with Phil Anderson about varmint control. You know, Phil Anderson is a tracker, and he shared a lot of great information on varmint control. Maddie, you all the way from Australia, huh? Maddie checking in from Australia. Hey, Jesse Johnson said everything on this earth love chickens, including me. It included me too. Gary, what's up, brother? Gary said, been in the game much over half a century, over 50 years. We give you a big shout out for being right on the money. You need common sense and you're on the spot. Hey, I greatly appreciate that, man. I really just try to share things from my personal experience, but I really like the comment section because I don't like to be, I'm just a conversation starter. You know, I'm the conversation starter, and then I answer questions that guys ask me. I don't get up here trying to preach to nobody, trying to judge nobody, trying to convince nobody. I just try to start a great conversation about topics that I don't see covered and try to encourage people in the comment section to engage with each other, no arguing, but engage with each other and take that opportunity for us to each one teach one, for each of us to teach each other and learn from each other. And that's how it all works out. And it works out pretty good. Okay, so now let's talk about, because you've been on here, guys, over 2 hours. So I want to just talk about one last thing. This notion that everybody has a good fowl. Do y'all guys agree? Do y'all think everybody has good fowl? I'm thinking this. If everybody has good fowl, then that means that everybody is a great breeder. Because in order to, you can, I guess you can initially buy good fowl, but after that you have to maintain it. You know what I mean? You just can't just buy. Once you buy it, you have to maintain it. So do y'all guys think that do you think that statement is true, that everybody has good fowl? I don't think everybody has good fowl. I don't think so. I don't think everybody has good fowl, because I just look at the conversations and the questions that is had on a continuous basis. And I have seen a lot of foul that's not good. That's not good. So do y'all guys think everybody has good foul? Huh? Hit me in the comment section while I plug this camera in. All right, we good. Got it plugged in. Okay, Christian said that not everyone has healthy birds, and that can make good fowl not good, if that makes sense. That make total sense. That make total sense. Total sense. It makes total sense. My question was, if you just chimed in, do y'all guys believe everybody has good fowl? And then that means that if you think everybody has good fowl, that means that everybody's a good breeder. I don't agree that everybody's a good breeder. I don't believe 50% of the people in this sport even know how to breed. They know how to buy good chickens, but I don't think 50% of the people in this sport know how to maintain good chickens. I think even less know how to create good chickens. Just think about that. So tell me in the comments. It seemed like y'all guys are saying, Raymond said he agreed. Not everybody has good fowl. Anthony says it takes time to know fowl. Right. Brian says no, because everyone no, because not everyone can maintain good fowl. That's exactly right. You can buy it, but can you maintain it? Can you improve it? And can you create it? That right there, a small percentage of the community can do. Because I don't really see a lot of interest in trying to understand the basic fundamentals of breeding. I don't see a lot of questions even on breeding, besides the fact that I'm going to buy this and cross it over that. I'm going to buy that and cross it over this. That doesn't make you a breeder. Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm trying to read some of these comments. OBS says, not everyone has good fowl. Okay. So JJ said, I think it's easier to get good fowl these days, but I know not everyone has good fowl. Not everyone has the knowledge and the eye to be a good breeder and maintain and improve the lines. Again, if you can maintain, improve, and create, that makes you a breeder. Throwing a brood pen together and putting a trio in there doesn't make you a breeder. To at least to be considered a breeder, you at least have to maintain the fowl. If you can at least maintain it, you can consider yourself a breeder. But just throwing fowl inside of a pen does not make you a breeder. I don't care if you got 20 brood pens set up. That doesn't automatically make you a breeder. Can you maintain the level of those fowl and improve them? If you can't even maintain them, you ain't no breeder. And then it goes to different levels. Not only can you maintain them, but you can improve them, and then you can even create different characteristics in a whole different line. See, it's different levels to a breeder. But in order to be even considered a breeder, you have to at least be able to maintain the quality of great fowl that you purchased or got or gifted or whatever the case is from the beginning. If you can't even create consistency, you're not even a breeder. Yeah, if you can't create consistency, you're not even a breeder. Jesse says that I don't think everyone has good fowl, but I also think everybody should have good fowl because some people can tear up at advent. I don't know what that is. Okay. Brian. Brian says that I see a lot of people trending. If this guy wins 4 or 5 derbies, that's their bread, and they end up not happy with the results. Win 4 or 5 derbies, they breed that. Oh, okay. There's some typos and I got it. So Brian said that I see a lot of guys trending. If this guy wins 4 or 5 derbies, they breed that and end up not happy with the results. Exactly. That's right. That's exactly right. And that's how trends start. Trends start because somebody won a big show or a couple big shows with a non-common cross, and then everybody goes out to buy it. And once there come a demand, people are going to create supply. And in every single thing where things have became trends, quality has always dropped. Why? Because you have individuals who don't have no idea of the concept of breeding, selection, or anything. They start breeding it and selling it. That's why I know everybody doesn't have good fowl, because a lot of individuals are buying fowl from people who are not even breeders. Look at what happened when the 101 Dalmatians came out. The animal shelters were filled of Dalmatians, and they had all kinds of problems. They were blind, they were deaf, they had all kinds of genetic problems because everybody and their mama started breeding Dalmatians for the money. Look at what happened with Rottweilers. Look what happened with German Shepherds. Look what happened with Doberman Pinschers. Look what's happened with those little exotic dogs. Look what it happens in every single thing. When it becomes a trend, the quality goes down. And then it's always a small pocket within that community that keeps everything solid. Outside of that community is just a bunch of trash being pumped out into the community. And that has the same thing to do with dogs, horses, goats, everything. When it becomes a trend, quality goes down. Same thing in cars. Toyota be trying to race up to become the #1 auto producer in the world. When they became #1, they had massive recalls because the quality was trash. You can apply what I'm saying outside of chickens. Apply it to coon dogs, hunting dogs, wild boar dogs, horses, all kinds of stuff. Apply it. Once it becomes a trend, the quality goes down because you have individuals who do not possess the ability to maintain a quality breeding, mating. I ain't going to say breeding, mating. And then you have the group going out there looking for people for the cheaper price, and they'll always find somebody who's not really truly a breeder and buy for them for a lesser price. Right? So that's the way I look at it. This is another one. Most people, JJ said, most people want to cross lines immediately without a reason to do so. Most people buy fowl across, but this is what I always say. Obviously, if you're going to buy fowl across, it's an experiment. It has to stay small. But guys will take an experiment, create it, automatically start selling it, but they're not selling it as an experiment, right? They just selling it. But also, too, I always say, before you start mixing up birds, make sure you can create what you have. Make sure you can recreate it. And then play around with the recreation. Don't play around with the original stuff. Play around with the recreation. But I see a lot of guys are buying outside fowl and sticking them straight into their main brood pens. You know, again, it's their fowl, their chickens, their money, their time. They can do whatever they want. I don't think it's a great idea. I don't think it's a great idea. What's up, Sam? What's up? What's up? What's up? Everybody's still checking in. Okay, Jim, you can you ask a fraternity what's the current price for stags, bull stags, and cocks in their current parts of the world? Jim, what do you consider expensive price for show fowl or brood fowl? Guys, you see that comment? Mario said, and Mario's out of Guam. Mario said, Jim, can you ask the fraternity what's the current price for stags, bull stags, and cocks in their current parts of the world? Jim, what do you consider expensive prices for show fowl and brood fowl? That's a great question. Mario, I think the answer to that question is going to be all over the board because there's way too many variables on it. You know, obviously with a lot of these people, they advertise their prices. So just basically going on stuff that I see just posted, a lot of these trios from these big, well, I ain't going to say big farms. A lot of trios from guys are going from anywhere from 18 to 2,500. And I know this because I know people selling them from 15, and I know people selling them 2,500, and I also know nobody's selling them for 1,000. So that's all over the board. Next part of the question is, what do I consider expensive? Well, I don't even look at it as being expensive. I look at it as when I go to purchase fowl, I look at it as I'm not just buying time. I mean, I'm not just buying the fowl, but I'm also buying time. And what I mean by buying time is if I can pay you, because I have paid $2,000 for a pair. I have. No questions asked. I look at it as buying time. Am I willing to pay you $2,000 for a pair that you have already figured out the recipe? Just think about it like this. If I'm going to this individual and I'm paying, you know, 750, 850, something like that for stags. And say if I'm paying 500 for the stag, and I can buy a brood pair from him for 2,000. 2,000 is very reasonable, because if this is the recipe that is producing what I've been buying from him for 500, 2,000 is reasonable. It's just like a dog. You go out here and you pay $500 for a dog, and then you want another one, and another one, and another one. It might be better just to buy a breeding pair and have 7 of them all at one time. So I look at it as, again, it's so many different variations. You go to a lot of these big farms that, you know, they can sell roosters for cheaper price sometime. But if you go to smaller places, yeah. And some small guys, I mean, I know small guys right now that'll sell you birds for $50. You know, so it just really, really depends. So, but yeah, I look at it as I look at it as what would one of those stags or pullets cost me, and how much would a breeding pair cost? That's the way I look at it, and that's how I determine. But I don't never look at it as being expensive or not expensive. I look at a return on investment, and not investment like how much money I'm gonna make back, but how much time I'm going to save. That's the way I look at it. Javier said, Jim, you just hit it right on the money. Yeah, I hope. I mean, and again, I'm just looking at, just looking at, just sharing it from my experience. Christian, 300 pesos, not dollars. You said. Yeah, Morris said in Guam, our feed alone is the greatest equalizer to determine feed. Everything has to be imported. That's the same thing here in Puerto Rico. They got good feed here. Like I said, it's $38 a bag. Guys like, oh, that you can go buy stags. How many people you think will be selling stags for $100 if their feed was $38 a bag? How much you think a trio would be? From not only big farms, but small, medium, large farms, if feed was $38 a bag. How much you think a trio would be? If trios are $1,500 from them big places and they buy their feed straight from the mill and probably paying $13 a bag, and they still selling trios for $1,500, $1,800, how much you think a trio would be if they were paying $38 a bag? If they were paying $30 a bag for that feed? Just think about that. So when you look at a lot of these islands, you look at a lot of these islands and guys be trying to reach out. Well, I don't really have that problem, but guys be thinking that, we in the States, I can buy a pullet and a stag for $100. Well, here you can't, you just can't. Anthony says stags 800 and down, 800 down, cocks 500 and up. Expenses is what you see and can never have. Yep, that's true. And I'll tell you another thing, guys. The cheapest thing about it is buying the fowl. The cost comes in keeping them and raising them. Yeah, pair some places $1,600 to $2,500, depending on who you get it from. It could be more. That's exactly right. I know somebody who sells his pair for $2,500, 100%, and he don't have no problem selling them. Yep, he doesn't have no problem selling them. Brian said he got some. He was selling for 50. Right, exactly. Exactly. Yep. Wow. So in Hawaii is $44 a bag. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Anthony said 45. See what I'm saying? Right, right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Let's read this. Got another comment coming in. Yeah, guys. So that's the whole thing. And I think a lot of these guys, again, trying to run out here, trying to get superheroes for a couple dollars. And it just doesn't exist. And many times it takes them many years. Some of them learn, some of them never learn. Many years to understand that if you want them that cheap, you need to breed them yourself. If you want them that cheap, you need to breed them yourself. That's what it comes down to. Michael Dobbs said, Jim, a lot of people buy good fowl and they have no clue how to pick and select to keep them good outside of their original trio or whatever they brought. Even if you buy honest fowl, the one that you were sold and bred may not produce the quality chickens you see them show. It's just the way it works. Breeding winners is difficult and major competition. Michael Dobbs, you're 100% correct. Success doesn't come out of a bottle and it doesn't come out of a box. Remember that. Success doesn't come out of a bottle and it doesn't come out of a box. And I'm saying consistency over the long term. You're not going to get it out of a bottle. Consistency over long term ain't going to always come out of a shipping box. So I agree, and I think if you watch that interview with Clark when he talks about how individuals come in his farm, they buy brood fowl from him, and in 2 years they want to have the same success that he has had. He said that's unrealistic because again, back to like I say, it takes more than just good fowl to compete at that level. It takes resources, it takes logistics, it takes knowledge, it takes money, it takes access to good fowl. It takes relationships, great relationships, so you can gain access to good fowl. Because a lot of say, oh, the best fowl is gifted. I think the best fowl comes from a trusted relationship. That's where I think the best fowl come from. And one of those types of trusted relationships is the gifted part. You know what I mean? Not all of them, but one of those is the gifted part. But the best fowl a lot of times come from a trusted relationship, not just gifted, because there's not enough gifted fowl out here to compete at these levels and the amount of fowl that's being produced. It's not enough gifted fowl out here. All righty, guys. This is a good one. Manuel said there's expensive birds at 100 and there's cheap birds at 1,000. That's exactly right. That's a great point, because I have seen guys try to be cheap, buy something cheap, throw it in a brood pen, and waste 2 years of their life. So yeah, you might have paid 300 for it, but what did you really pay? So Mario, Manuel, you're exactly right. That's a great point. See, Brian said he paid $15 a bag. We ain't got nothing here for 15 a bag. And so just imagine, like I said, if you think about it, uh, if you think about it, uh, yeah, yeah, Javier, I agree, man. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's feed bills is all over the place. I'm just trying to read some of these comments, brothers. Give me a second. Let me read some of these comments. Um, hey, let me tell you, JJ is funny. He said, I've seen some gifted fowl that wouldn't leave a feather in the pit if you bagged them up all of you. Exactly right. Uh, one of the first birds that I had that flew out the pit, and we all had birds that quick. If you haven't, you will if you stay in this long enough. Was gifted to me. Was gifted to me. So you always hear guys say, "Oh, some of the best fowl you ever get is gifted." Well, some of the worst fowl you can get is also gifted. That goes both ways. Oh my god. Yeah, guys, it's like I say, man, it's let me just look through these comments. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's let me see here. Bill Wagner. Yeah, Bill Wagner, what you said is exactly right. You know, that's something we talked about earlier in the show. I don't know if you was on, but you're exactly right. You know, it's not all about this, the sizes and all that kind of stuff. And that's what we were conversating about earlier. Um, Yeah, it goes both ways. Yeah, Brian, you're exactly right. It go both ways. Mario, I feel your pain, brother. Mario Santiago, I feel your pain. Anthony Nelson, you have never heard the story of what's up, Star? Uh you never heard the story about when my rooster flew out the pit. I had it happen more than one time. The most embarrassing, thing that one of the most embarrassing things I'm talking about, if I could have disappeared, I would have disappeared. It was one of the most embarrassing things because first of all, he had already won. He had already won twice. He had already won twice, and he just met one. And it's the crazy thing about it. He quit on top. Like he quit on top. He didn't quit on bottom. He quit on top. And here in Puerto Rico, when your bird quits, they cut the feathers on the wings and cut the feathers on the tail. So you can't take the bird from the pit and try to sell it the next day, the next week, or whatever. You literally gonna have to wait till that bird molt back out again to sell him. Because if his feathers are cut, everybody already know what happened. They already know what happened. So that's just again something to think about. But yeah, my bird quit, flew out the pit. Everybody in the pit was laughing. I was sitting down there, and it was just humiliating. I was so embarrassed. That was the first time one of my birds quit, and it was a gift. It was a gift. Yeah, that was a long time ago, but again, it was a gift. You know what, JJ? It did make me feel an inch tall, but at the end of the day, I realized that if you've been in this sport long enough, we have all experienced that feeling. And if you haven't, you will experience that feeling. Because if you put enough down on a hard ground, you're gonna run across some that quit. And hey, sometimes, like I got a friend of mine, like he said, I'd rather for him to quit at the house than quit it, at the box. And I respect that. But sometimes they don't quit at the house and they end up quitting at the box. That's just the reality of it. You know what I mean? Yep, that's just the reality of it. But don't feel belittled, humiliated, or whatever. Don't feel like that because everybody who's laughing, they didn't have one that quit. You know what I mean? And if they did, they probably ain't showed enough or they turn ain't come yet. I don't care what his wing band say, what farm he come off of, big, small, and medium. We all produce birds that quit. Just because you ain't seen them quit don't mean the quit ain't there. That's what guys get confused. Yep, that's what guys get confused. But listen, brothers, we have been on here 2.5 hours. We have been on here 2.5 hours. Remember, guys, we got some interviews coming up. Definitely show us some support. If y'all guys don't mind, y'all guys can come over there and join us. Show us a little support by joining our membership. You can join as little as $4.99 a month. We got some great interviews lined up. That's going to be coming soon. We got 3 different plans: the $4.99 a month plan, the $9.99 a month plan, the $24.99 a month plan. To watch the live interviews, you got to have the $9.99 a month plan and up to watch the interviews live. The next day, after they live, they go down to the $4.99 plan, kind of like a pay-per-view. The guys who got the $4.99 plan is able to watch it after the live is done. And then it comes out to the general population a few weeks later. We don't have any set time on it. We don't have any set time because, like I told y'all guys before, our main focus was to focus on the individuals who's willing to invest in learning. We have produced 6 years of free content. We have made a positive impact on thousands of people's lives. We have made impacts on people's farms. We have made impacts on a special guest's business, on their relationships. We have helped people win their first shows. We have helped people improve their breeding program. Journey to the Pit has done a lot for a lot of people for 6+ years. So we didn't think it was unreasonable to convert some of the content over to membership, paid content. We think it's worth it. We realized after looking to a lot of the data, looking through over the 6+ years of experience, that we could not create content for everybody. We had to find our target market and create content for them. Because like they say in business or food or anything that you create, creating a product or service for everybody is like you creating it for nobody, because you can't satisfy everybody. And what we found out, especially on Facebook, a lot of the content after the live is over with, you can't even find it. That's number one. The second thing is a lot of the conversation that was being had on the Facebook platform was just a lot of critiquing and criticizing, and that's really it. There wasn't a bunch of people using it to learn. And the reason why I say that is because if you didn't catch it live on Facebook, it was very difficult to find. After 2 or 3 days, you couldn't even find the interview. You know what I mean? Versus on YouTube, you go down to our YouTube channel, all the interviews are sitting right there. From the newest to the oldest, they're right there. Go to our YouTube channel, they're all right there. Come to Facebook, you can't even find the interviews. So we realized that the individuals, not saying they wasn't learning on the Facebook platforms, but we found out that the individuals who were really watching the interviews were literally on YouTube. See, we got the stats. So we know the age groups, the sexes, the countries, the cities, the states, the amount of time, what device, we got all the data. And we realized that the individuals that were watching from YouTube were really watching the interviews to learn. The individuals that were watching the interviews on the Facebook platform were just watching them just to consume. They really wasn't watching them to learn. Not saying they didn't learn anything, but they were just watching it because it was there. Individuals on YouTube are literally going to YouTube to watch the interview. Nobody was really going to our Facebook page to find the interview. So we found out it was two totally different markets. So we were creating content for education, not just for consumption. And we realized Facebook was all about consumption and YouTube was all about education. So that's why we shifted our interviews over to YouTube. Yep. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah. I appreciate it, guys. Like I say, I put the link in the comment section if y'all guys want to show us some support. Like I say, even if you join for $4.99 a month, that's $5 a month. I mean, even $9.99 a month. I know y'all guys spend more than that. That's not even the cost of a bag of feed to watch the live interviews and also show some support from the last 6+ years of creating all this content. Okay. Yeah, Javier, I know we have always had that, brother. We have always had it. It was great. Appreciate it, Anthony. Appreciate it, brother. Hey, guys, I hope y'all had a good time. I hope y'all had a good time. Hey, I greatly appreciate that, man. Yes, sir, Anthony. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, join where you can join, man. Join where you can join. Like I say, appreciate it. Star, yeah, he said he in the truck, yeah, 6 hours a day. Yeah, man, it's definitely, man. The content is where it's at, brother. Eric, I'm gonna put the link in the comments right now, Eric. You can tap that link and you can sign up. And then actually after you get off as well, You can just go to our page and right next to the subscribe button, you're gonna see join. Yeah, Eric, I just clicked the I just put the link in the comment section. Yep, I just put the link in the comment section. So, brothers and sisters out there, I really enjoyed this 2-hour and 40+ minute conversation. It's always a pleasure to be on here with y'all guys. I love to start these type of conversations. I listen to what y'all guys ask me. I can't always produce it, but we have some great interviews coming up about farm, guardians, our farm dogs. We have a great interview about that. We got an interview coming up about purchasing, if you're interested in purchasing property in Mexico, the whole process and that. We got a couple small breeders that's going to be coming on a membership channel. We got a couple guys lined up, and we'll be talking about care. We'll be talking about genetics. We'll be talking about comb types. We'll be talking about health issues and that kind of stuff. But that'll be membership only. That's going to be a membership only. So we already got those things set up. We're just trying to all correlate the schedule so we can go ahead and start producing. That won't be on. None of this stuff is going to be on Facebook. All of it's going to be on the YouTube channel. All of it's going to be on the YouTube channel. So again, good night, good night, good night. Remember, guys, stay focused, stay positive, stay blessed, and know that resentment, jealousy, and envy only poisons you. They don't poison the other person. So let's stay focused and stay blessed. Y'all brothers and sisters, have a great night. And the link's in the comment section to join. We appreciate your support.